Hi, I'm Tim from Timography and welcome to our first video blog post here in my wonderful little home studio. Today we're going to be looking at the contents of my camera bag. People often ask me why I carry so much, so we're going to just quickly go through why I've got everything that I do. So we'll start with camera bodies. I carry not one, but two of these Fujifilm S5 Pro DSLR bodies, about 12 3/4 megapixels. Awesome high dynamic range sensor, film simulation modes. The colors that these little babies produce are fantastic. So love the camera bodies. They actually don't make them anymore, but I'm not getting rid of them. They're awesome. Lenses. Have here a Sigma 7200 constant f2.8 telephoto, great for outdoor portraits or for in the studio just for head shots or half-length shots. Really nice lens. Next lens is a Sigma 24-70 constant f2.8. I use this pretty much exclusively here in the studio. It's not a huge space that I've got here to work with, so I pretty much just leave this set at 70mm, use it as a prime lens, and just change my position depending on how I want to frame the subject. Great lens, great contrast, very low aberrations and distortions around f5.6 to f8. Great studio lens. Next one is a Sigma, this is a bit older lens, 17 to 35 f2.8 to f4 wide angle lens. These cameras have crop sensors, or I should say they're APS-C sensor. So it's not quite a 17 to 35, but it still works well for, I don't do a huge amount of landscape photography, but nice little lens also for group shots at weddings, when there's lots of people there, family shots and that kind of thing. Great little, reasonably inexpensive wide angle. Love this lens. This is a Nikon 50mm prime. It's f1.8, great little indoor low light portrait lens. I use this a lot to photograph my baby son. He's moving around lots, and this still enables you to get a nice fast shutter speed, freeze the action, and a really nice soft bokeh with that lens. And they're really cheap, great investment. And along those lines, I've recently got this 85mm f1.8 prime lens, primarily for portraits. Fantastic lens. It's not the 1.4, but that's only half a stop or a third of a stop really. So 1.8 lens, awesome, fantastic bokeh. The colors and contrast with this lens are superb. So have a look into one of those. They're really nice. Nearly done with the lenses. I don't use this one too much, but it's a Sigma 105mm f2.8 macro lens. It gives you 1:1 scale as well, so you can get in nice and close for subjects. A lot of photographers use these as their main lens for portraiture. I don't so much because of the small space I work in here. But if I'm shooting product in a light tent or outdoors, it's still a very nice lens and a very handy lens to have. And last but not least, picked this up on eBay a few months ago. This is a brilliant little lens. It's an old Sigma 24mm constant f2.8. Fantastic for landscapes. It's also macro as well, so you can get in closer for smaller subjects. Pin sharp lens, really nice and really cheap, so look out. You often see them on eBay, so keep your eye out. Okay, that was the lenses. Moving on to the flashes. First one, I use a Nikon SB900 Speedlight as my main flash. Great flash, really nice features, great display on the back of here. A lot of things you can do with this flash. Fantastic and very durable. I've dropped it a couple of times and it still works. Second flash is a Nikon SB800. If I'm using two cameras at a wedding, two camera bodies, I'll put one of these on each with the different lenses on there at the same time. Or if I'm using the Nikon ITTL creative lighting system, triggering the flashes wirelessly, I'll use this as a second flash, or I'll put this 900 on my camera as the master flash, which doesn't actually contribute to the exposure, and this is the main off-axis light. And to continue that, I use one more, a little old, slightly broken SB600 Nikon flash. The hot shoe on this is actually broken, but it still works fantastic as a wireless remote flash using the wireless sensor here. So I'll put this behind the subject or whatever purpose I need it for. Glad I didn't get rid of it, because even though it is broken, it's still a very handy flash to have for putting behind a subject. Light meter. No one should really be without one of these. This is a Sekonic L358. Great light meter, love it, can't live without it. If you haven't got one, get one. They are invaluable either in the studio or location or whatever you're doing. We have here a small handful of Bowen's Pulsar radio triggers. These little babies are transceivers, they transmit or receive. I have all Bowen's equipment here in our studio, so I figured why not stick with the triggers as well. Great, they work as well as Pocket Wizards. They're a little bit cheaper than the Pocket Wizards. I use these in the studio, or if I'm out if I've got a bit of extra time during a wedding shoot and I want to set everything up manually, these are fantastic. Or for a portrait or modelling shoot, I always use these, set everything to manual so I know the exposure is going to be consistent shot to shot. Great little triggers. Would you believe that's it in the camera bag pretty much? A couple other things that I keep in the front of the bag is this, very quickly, is just a little Nikon battery pack for the speed lights. It enables you to get 1 or 2 second recycle times at full power rather than 5 or 6 seconds if your batteries are getting a bit low just in the flash itself. Use these a lot at weddings or portrait shoots on location. Great idea, and they're pretty inexpensive too, so great idea for those. This little thing is awesome. This is a Weibel white balance card. Google it, Weibel. These are brilliant. Enables you to get consistent white balance set throughout the set of images that you're taking. Great idea. Second last, we have here a remote shutter release. Obviously, if you're using longer exposure times or you don't want any camera shake, you don't want to be touching the camera to trigger the shutter, so use one of these. This one has a timer in it as well, so I can take a sequence of shots without having to touch the camera. But they're a great idea as well for low light photography or long exposure photography. And finally, a little torch, little LED torch, cost about $8 from Dick Smith, I think. This is good for focusing on a subject at low light. Even though all the lenses I've got are f2.8 or lower, they can still struggle to focus, especially if the subject is a little bit far away and it's a very high or low contrast scene. The cameras can struggle. So shine one of these or get your assistant to shine it on the subject's face, set your focus and you're away, no stuffing around. So that's about it. That's what I carry in my camera bag. That's why my back is so sore, but I've sort of become accustomed to carrying all this stuff around, and I like to have everything available, so that's just the way I like to do it. Thanks for watching. I hope I haven't bored you too much, and we look forward to seeing you next time in our Timography video blog posts. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.